Welcome to the Pink Lady Posse podcast, where women over 50 take a fresh look at living, toss out tired stereotypes, and say a big heck yes to what's next. I'm your host, Sandy Parker, and around here, we challenge limitations, rewrite the story on aging, and reclaim our power, pleasure, and purpose. Why? Our next years are not about a decline. They are our big reveal. Let's go. I am Sandy Parker Martinez with Invisible Glitter, and I'm here with Rhona McBain. And welcome, Rhona.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here.
Now, I know you are a creativity coach and a resilience coach. And I asked you to explain that, and it was so wonderful. I said, well, why don't you explain it? Because you can do a better job than me. So help us understand what that means. What is that?
So, everybody is creative. When we make choices, they become either just an A to B choice, or uh, we use inner intention to make those choices. And so inner intention is a creative choice, is a creative action. And so what I do is allow people or help people tap into that creativity so that they can understand that their purpose and their identity is fluid, but every act that they do throughout their day can be an intentional choice to create that identity and that purpose.
So you said something about intention. What was the phrase?
So
Did you say we have an
action is
inner
pretty much, pardon?
was it inner intention?
Yes. So basically, if you have action and you make a choice, I'm going to go walk my dog, you're going to go walk your dog, A to B. If you decide from your inner intention that it's going to connect with your purpose, whichever you've created, then walking your dog might be, I'm going to make this walk about my connection with my dog. How do I do that? That is expression. You're expressing your purpose and your relationship with your dog.
Okay, believe it or not, there are days I walk through the day without an intention.
Hmm.
I just wake up like I wake up and I do what I do and I make the bed and I come to my office. How often do you set or create an inner intention?
So I think that the more that you do it and the more awareness that you have that everything is interconnected. So your form, your physicality, your curiosity, your relationships, your emotions, and your connection to your spirituality are all interconnected. And you start making choices from that knowledge. You do it, and at certain points, you're so comfortable with yourself that it does kind of just flow. It just starts to happen. And so it's not like you have to. I mean, when you tied your shoes for the first time, it was very aware of how to do the process.
Right,
And when you tie your shoes now, you're not thinking about it.
right.
So the fact is that once you step into that intention and you continuously do it in different ways, you're flexing that mental muscle, that emotional muscle, until it becomes something that becomes, I'm going to walk that dog, but I'm going to walk him and make that connection with him. So we might go exploring or we might go do this in that walk that makes it so that I have more joy with my dog than just, I got to take him out. But we don't always necessarily think about it. We just now start to do it.
Um, I don't want to say a mantra because that's kind of a big word, but I have a phrase that I say to myself and others. I am either creating my life or I'm inheriting one.
Hmm.
Like life will just give you what it wants you to have, or you'll just run into the day as the day shows up. Or you can actually say, what is today going to be like for me? What am I going to be like today? And what is my intention or my desire for this day?
Yes,
But it
definitely.
takes being what they say mindful. Like
Hmm.
you have to kind of wake up and smell the coffee, like, or the roses or whatever that is. But I like the idea that I get a say
Hmm.
in how my
Yes,
life goes.
yes. So I have something that I say to myself all the time, and actually what I use with my clients: make calm, create forward. So the fact is that you can hope calm and peace can come to you, or you can take the active steps, the active creative steps to make a space that's calm for you. Even in the hardest times, it creates a space that's calm. And then from that calm, that foundation, how are you creating forward? What intentions are you setting forward from that? So make calm, create forward.
Wow, that has a peaceful tone that I don't normally have. I mean, I don't start out with calm. I
Yeah,
start
so
out
your
with
base, yeah.
go, right?
Yeah. So, but if that's your baseline emotion is go, that is your calm.
Mm,
So that is the fact is that my calm looks different than your calm. And so once you know what your baseline calm feels and looks like, oh, it's so much more powerful. Great example. My late husband used to bring me a cup of coffee. 40-minute drive to bring me coffee. I wouldn't know when he did it. He would just do it. And my whole being would light up with joy and happiness. And it was just, in the end, it wasn't about the cup of coffee. Now, when he passed and I had rough moments, one of the things I would do is think of that cup of coffee and him coming. And I could feel that emotion. I could bring that sense of joy back to myself, even for a short moment. And so the fact is that then I'm changing my baseline from being unhappy and sad and intentionally going, no, I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose that emotion. And the fact is that that emotion was always there. He just brought it forward.
mm, mm,
And so the fact is that on days when you're having a harder moment or weeks when you're having a harder moment, what is your baseline? If you know what your baseline is and you start to think about it and you start to think of moments where you were in it, sometimes you can actually call it forward. Now, for me, what that meant was I had an aha moment of, okay, so I can think of the coffee and it brings the emotion forward. Now, after doing that over and over again, and I get used to it and I know what that emotion feels like, are there ways in which I can take a pause from all the chaos around me and think of the emotion? Let's not even think of the coffee anymore. Let's just think of the emotion. Can I feel it? But that requires that we make calm. We create the pause and the space uh, to allow us to do that.
when you say that, I just feel so calm. You can make calm. I'm like, ah, I love that. Well, not to be, yeah, we're both widows,
Mhm.
and not to be superficial about it, you've struggled.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So, would you just tell me the cliff notes of that in terms of so I can relate to what you've been through?
Okay. So, my husband was diagnosed with ALS. So, it's a disease, Lou Gehrig's is another word for it. It's basically where your brain stops talking to the rest of your bodies through your muscles and stuff like that. So, it is fatal, 3 to 5 years. Now, when he was diagnosed, we lived in a small town, and so his diagnosis, he probably had it for some period of time. We just didn't know it. It came out in signs of carpal tunnel and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I went through 8 months of watching and knowing that my husband was going to pass, but also watching this man who's so vibrant in life. He was, I mean, in a party. I could always find him. I just had to find the biggest group of people, and he would be in the
Oh,
center of it. He would hold court. So to find this really intelligent, charismatic man, unable to use his hands, and then unable to use his legs, and then going through so much pain and the muscle contractions and stuff like that. And then me now flipping to survival mode so that I could caretake for him and provide what he needed for his end of life moments. So there was that struggle. And then there's this struggle of, well, my identity's attached to him. My identity, my world, and my future thoughts were attached to him. So how do I not grasp for comfort that might not be so healthy? And how do I create a space that allows me to acknowledge him and build new? And so there was a huge struggle where I lost him. I moved to a new town where I knew absolutely nobody. My mom actually, a few months later, told me she had terminal cancer. And a year after that, passed. And so I went from that to losing my mom.
Rhona,
So yeah, it got a little
ah,
rough. So,
jeez.
but I think that the fact is that, the death of my husband allowed me to learn and gain new ways of looking at life that when my mom started to pass, I could create pockets of joy within her passing.
Hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that. I remember when my husband passed away, there was this, it's almost like an allegiance thing. Like if I go create a great life without him, I mean, maybe I should just be sad for a long time because that would be with him in this terrible leftover. Bleh.
Hmm.
And I would go to make a great life because I always have created my life. And I go, am I betraying something to go create my own life? And I'm sure kids have that too, right? They move away
Hmm.
from home and it's like, so how did you unravel that? And maybe did you go through that?
I did. But one of the gifts that Jim gave me, that's my husband, is that we had talks about him passing. We had the dark humor about, like, well, afterwards, go do this kind of thing. So there was access point and acceptance, and we had the hard conversations that so many people avoid. So in a lot of ways, that somewhat released me from that.
Right.
And I also had an aha moment. If I was going to have faith, if I was going to really truly believe in a grander purpose that I'm not aware of, then I needed to realize that he was put in my life. He was part of my life, and he was meant to be there for that part of my life. But
Mhm.
he was not meant to be in this part of my life. He was meant to completely alter who I am and make me ready for this part of my life.
Okay. So I remember how hard Rodney had to live. Like every day, it took a lot to go one more day.
Mhm.
And I wake up now and I take a breath and go, you know, I didn't do a dang thing, but take a breath. And in his honor, I'm going to take that breath and use this day like it's the gift it is. That
Yeah,
really helped me kind of transition to going on to create a life.
yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I think I did that for a long time too, until I realized that, yeah, I just needed the gratitude all around. I mean, that's such a huge change in grief is when you can have gratitude in grief.
It is. Well, the other thing, we're talking about liminal space.
Hmm.
And by liminal space, which I love this phrase, but it is that space between what was before and what is going to be. That
Hmm.
that that unknowing space, that place you go into the swimming in the unknown, right?
That in between space, yes.
Ay, ay, ay. Well, I actually just started working on a new program for Pink Lady Posse about dating over 50. And I realized that it is liminal space when you, and it doesn't matter if it's dating, it doesn't matter if it's quitting your corporate job to do your own side hustle, it kind of doesn't matter what the jump off point is, you're jumping into liminal space.
Hmm.
And you have clients I know that are in this space of the unknown.
Yes.
And are we not always, but that's another point. But as, as you're dealing with clients who are in this liminal space or they've taken a jump into who they want to be, how do you guide them in terms of patience with themselves and tools? And like, what would you recommend to someone who's in a liminal space?
Well, I think the first thing is to realize that a pause is an action. And so that space is not a judgment. And it's not a, if we can flip the script and allow them to look at that space as not, it was created because of loss, or it was created, it just is. It's just a space. It's an incubator. No
Well,
matter what came before, it's an incubator. And so once they can do that, once they're good, there's nothing wrong with it. We've always looked at it as bad. We went off to college, that's a new space, and yet we found it as good. So releasing what was before and not rushing to what is coming and realizing that this is a wonderful opportunity to create new things and to have discoveries. And so that means understanding what a pause is, because a lot of times when we're in that space, we're very reactive. So let's put the brakes on that. Let's pause those actions. Or maybe it's we're overthinking. That's a different type of pause. We now need to learn how to deal with those pauses. Or even just accepting that that space is a pause and it's okay to sit there without judgment. Because I think we overall tend to think of pausing as a negative, and it's actually very good.
well, that's what you told me last week. So I'm so excited to be helping women find love. I mean, both of my husbands were a gift of online dating, and nobody goes, oh, online dating. It's my
Hey,
territory.
I'm starting to date. I understand completely.
Oh. But I thought, if there's a possibility to bring play and ease and joy and support to that kind of time.
Hmm.
As I remember the times at 11 o'clock at night when I was lonely and bored and think, oh, maybe I'll get online. And that didn't really help all the time. To have support and tools during liminal spaces. And I
Hmm.
don't know if there is a more liminal space than that.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
You're dating. How is it?
It's going good right now. I think the fact is that I'm not I don't use it as a self-soothe, which is huge. 'Cause, yeah,
Mhm.
we get bored or we get lonely and we go, oh, well, this will fix it. And when I realize that I'm bored or lonely and I want to reach for my phone, I go, what's a creative outlet that's not going to be that? And when can I create the situation in which it's fun? Like, I think we have to change our goals. Like now being over a certain age, yeah, I definitely am like, hey, you know what? I want to find somebody, I want to do this. Like, time is short in some ways. So I think there's that too. But I think that in the end, when I changed my goal to just learning about me through this, and then also learning about them, I have friends now. I mean, we went on one or two dates and I'm like, it's not happening. And we're still friends. And then there's the ones where I'm like, wow, that pulled out a lot of ugly, either in him or me, and why. And so, and let's shut that door because that's not okay anymore. But that's an interesting thing that popped up. So yeah, changing the goals for me was a
I
big
like
one.
that.
But
Well, one of the things that happened to me was, and you're right, if you think it's going to be a soothing thing,
no.
go work out. It'll be a lot better.
Yeah. It's a social experiment in a way, yeah, definitely.
And one guy said, I remember he said, is anybody finding love in here? And I remember that touched me so much. I thought, you know, I can relate to that feeling, but if I showed up with love, I don't have to wonder if I'm going to find love in here because I am love in here.
Yes. Yes.
That was a huge change for me because I used to look at somebody's picture. He's too buff. He's too short. He's too smart. And like analyze myself as a match all by myself, which is so,
Yeah.
degrading sometimes.
Yeah.
And, but then I said, I decided that everyone I came in contact to, I was going to offer generosity, contribution, love, and kindness. And okay, he's not for me, but I
Hmm.
would say, you're not for me. And I just wish you nothing but the best.
Hmm.
But it totally changed the experience for me.
Yes. Oh, definitely. That's one of the things I'm experiencing now is also though uh having the conversations and realizing when it feels reciprocal and when it's not.
Mhm.
So if I can communicate, hey, I really like your morning texts, and hey, love the conversation that we had, and this was what my day was about, and they go, cool. They're not returning the reciprocation. Now, we can look at that person and go, wow, but he likes the same stuff as me, and he does this, and he does that. Well, that's great. But actions and intentions show so much more than, oh, well, I think he'd be compatible. Well, he's not because he's not showing the same intentions. Now, we all have different communication styles.
Yeah,
So it
and
might
I
be
was
he might be where he's, hey, I'd like to see you on Saturday. Let's do this. Let's do this. And he's very intentional about that. And he's just not a texter. So there is actions that follow in different ways in different communications. Now, if I'm saying though that I like a text in the morning and he doesn't send texts in the morning, okay, that's information. Am I comfortable with him not doing it? That's on me. Uh, if it's habitual, that then it becomes this thing, you
Well,
know?
and last week in our episode, Holly, or I don't remember, a couple of weeks ago, Holly Hartman was talking about how we get a few details and fill out the picture,
Yes.
right? Oh, he drives a new truck and he's really handsome and he does this for a living, which makes this story totally full of fantasy. And that's just what happens. And
Yeah.
then we spend the time getting to know the real person
Yeah.
versus the fantasy we created because we don't like to be in the unknown. We want to fill out the
Yeah.
fantasy.
But if we come at it with curiosity, so like there's a gentleman that I've seen a couple times and he's got a really nice car. And he one time he picked me up in it. He's got another car he has too. But one time he picked me up in it and I was just kind of like, so why do you have the car? Like what is it about the car that you want? So it's not me going, oh, he's got a cool car. It's what is it showing of you in this car? You
Right.
know? So yeah.
Well, as much as Pink Lady Posse wants everybody to have whatever they want, including love, we also want every message to inspire everyone, whether they're looking to date or they're in the happiest marriage of their life. That I do want to say something to them and me because I'm married now and I wake up and sometimes I'm not happy being married.
Isn't that human though? Like one of the big things for me. So my internal purpose, which is not, I love what I do and what I talk about, my internal purpose, like what I really want out of life is to live it to the fullest, to make choices from my inner knowing, and to really honor the complexity of being human. So that means for you and for me. And
Yeah.
so, some days you're not going to want to be married. That's okay. It's being human, you know?
It's
That's
so
great.
funny though. We think XYZ will fix us.
Yeah. So,
Losing weight would fix me.
no. Yeah.
Having not the corporate job but a side gig where I'm free, we sort of isolate these. If I had that, it would fix everything.
Yeah. Well, that's because we don't want to look inside. We want to look at outside resources to make us the fix. And the outside resources are pretty much just an example of what the inside sounds like. Yeah.
Oh,
So, I mean,
there's a
what,
pause.
yeah, right? So, I mean, that's if you think of it, yeah. So I care for my body because it signals to me that I'm healthy and that I care for myself. It- you know, the clothes that I wear, that car that I drive, all of it is just a signal of how I care for myself or what I want to feel, where I'm curious at. If it's starting to be that I'm buying a car because it flexes for other people, I mean, some people can do that, but that's not going to be an internal mechanism for me. So,
Well, one of the things that happened last week in my not so great week, I'm emailing all the people I know saying I'm so excited about helping women find love. And I just felt resistant to sending out the message.
mhm,
I thought, now I'm excited about this. So why am I resistant to sending that message out? And then I got all in it about who's going to like that I'm doing that. What are people going to think? I'm a 69-year-old woman who takes on love as a practice. I got so in, but I have to say, I didn't know it.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't know that till today. Right. But I thought, how can I be settled with what I want? This is my life. And
yeah.
what everybody thinks is not my business. But boy, a lot of us don't even know what we really want.
No, no, we don't want to have those conversations. Talking about uncomfortable conversations, the ones with yourself. I truly believe that if you don't create yourself, if you don't create your identity and your purpose, good luck with love. You can find it. You can give love, you can get love, but it's so fragile. It's so fragile. But if you already have that love, if you're already kind of building that muscle for self, wow, when you find love, that's a powerful, concrete thing. It's-
So in the end, it's about loving yourself.
yeah, yeah.
One of the
Well, knowing yourself, creating yourself enough that you can completely and absolutely be undeniably you.
well, that's one of the things I liked about moving from Georgia to Texas.
Yeah.
Nobody knows me. I
Hmm.
can be any way I want to be. And you don't really have to move from Georgia to Texas to have that. It was just a wide open space to have that. Now I realize that I'm sitting right here in my small town in my office, and I can like pretend I just moved from Georgia to Texas and wake up and be any way I want to be.
Every morning's a gift. You said
I
it
know.
before. Every morning's a gift because we get to create.
So
We get to,
how do women, I'm going to say women because we deal with women, how do we get the message that we don't deserve what we want? We shouldn't know what we want. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter how we got here, but we sometimes are here.
well, I mean, so one of the things that there's a study done in the 70s that said that that tested children, and 98% of them were uh, creative geniuses. So that means that there was no limiters on them. There was no external things going, no, you can't. No, no, no. They did the same for adults. And I think it was completely reversed in what the statistics were. So at
Mm.
some point, we decided that our choices and our actions and who we are defined by our mom, our dad, our schools, our friends, our communities. And so yeah, we question stuff. When we start to create something really close to us, like your new group, what do? We pull back and contract because it scares us to share something that we're really, really connected to. So, You
Yeah.
know, I think that for women especially, look at all the things we're told. Well, be warm, but not too warm. Be strong, but not too strong. Be this aesthetic. Do this thing. Be a good mom. What does that mean? Like, be a good daughter. That was a big one. So we inherit all these obligations and ideas. And not one time is there a point where you're going, hey, maybe we need to call and question if that's the right thing. Where's the reciprocity? Like, where's it reciprocal? You know, is it giving to me so that I can have the joyful moment, so I can live in my baseline, go, go, go? Where are we doing that? How are we doing that? Or did we just go in autopilot?
Well, and I'm practicing to do a TED talk, and
Hmm.
it's about, to me, the most painful thing was feeling like the best of life was behind me.
Hmm.
Like when Rodney passed away, I'm going, there goes my husband, my family, my past, my all the good stuff that happened, and I'm looking at a blank. Well,
Hmm.
what if the last days of our life are the great reveal instead of the great winding down till I mean, there's sort of this thing where you get old enough to where it's sort of an invisibility factor where you're just sort of fading out. And I want it to be the great reveal.
Yeah.
Because you get
I,
old enough to where they can do whatever they want and you can do whatever you want.
yeah. Well, I think it's also like I, I I've seen this so often now is that we try to emulate who we were when we were 30 or 20. You know, of course we're going to disappear. We're supposed to be who we are. We're supposed to
Yeah,
have the knowledge behind us, the stories, the empowerment. We're supposed to share those things. We're supposed to like celebrate it. And if we do that, we're definitely not invisible. We're just not what they're expecting.
right. I went to my husband's a pastor, and we went to a church the other day, and the sign-in sheet said, "What's your age group?" Child 12 to 15, 18 plus, 30 plus, 50 plus. Like, what about the 70 plus and 80 plus? Did we just were getting a hump of over?
Well, and it's such a gift, you know. That's so next year I'll turn 50 so I'll turn 50. The year after that I'll turn 51 and Jim didn't get to 51.
Mm,
So the fact is that I get time. I get opportunities to create and change. And through me being calm and creating forward, it ripples to other people. And so I have the opportunity just in the way that I interact with this world to change it up to ripple to other people.
one of the things I like about us together
Hmm.
is that we made this us together happen
Hmm.
from a Zoom. Like
Yes.
we were on a Zoom, and I go, "Ooh, I think I want to know her," and you go, "Ooh, I think I want to know her," and then we got together. And now every time I'm in that Zoom with you, I go, "There's that person that really cares about me."
Hmm.
And I feel the same way. And it's like we created that out of the most common circumstance. I mean, how many people are on a Zoom every day that don't end up with a new friend?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm
But
like, that is
like
the coolest.
I think that's the gifts we get or we run by, right? Like I think that John actually said, "Hey, there's this woman I think you really like." And I'm like, "Okay, cool," but I was doing all this other stuff. So while I was doing all this stuff, it wasn't time. But the minute that you got on and started talking, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we both dig pink. We both done this. We both done that. We have these shared experiences. That's super cool." And I love the way she talks. She's just at it. She's on it. Like, let's go. And so, yeah, I mean, the fact is that that's so cool. And also, I think that there's that creation. There's people that I probably should be doing that with, but I've blocked myself off, you know? I've gone, oh wow, she seems this way or that way, or closed off or she doesn't talk like, and so we click because we're automatically like, yeah, pink, woo. Or there's certain things that allow us to have access to each other. And I think when I talk with you, I'm like, this is incredible. I'm like, what am I missing with the other people that I've automatically discluded because I'm not allowing access or they're not allowing access. And I think of that too. Like, who have I blocked off from having access to me because of, not being open enough to do it?
I like that. And I just had an aha moment, and that is I've become the person that would attract a person like you to be friends,
Hmm.
right? It's the
Hmm.
same thing when I was dating. It was like sitting here and berating myself about not being buff enough, cute enough, skinny. And come on. As soon as I said, you know what, this is who I am and this is what I stand for, I was asking Steve last night, what about me sparked the first part? Because at the time, I weighed 300 pounds. It's not like I love all these girls that say, oh, well, if I lose 50 pounds, I'm like, if you lose 50 pounds, it has nothing to do with it. And I
Hmm.
said, what was it? He goes, definitely energy. It was just your energy and your courage to say, hey, because I'm a little bit unreasonable if I'm dating.
Why not?
Well,
Why not?
because I said, okay, you get one chance at a text and then one chance at a phone call.
Well,
We,
so
we've been texting for an hour. It's time for the phone call.
there you go.
And he
Well,
goes, I'm not available. I said, okay, well, do this. Give me your phone number. I'll leave you a message so you can hear what I sound like. And then you can call me back if you want to keep going. But this is the end of our first texting. I'm like, I don't want to text for a week. And he
yeah,
goes, hold on. And he went outside and he called me.
yeah.
And it was like that first phone call, he swears, is where, he felt the attraction. But had I not been unreasonable, had
But
I
you,
not, I was like, this is what I want. And this is the way I roll.
but the thing is that you also created access. So it wasn't just, hey, you text me. You gave an opportunity. Because, I mean, let's be honest, calling somebody is vulnerable. Calling somebody is scary. So, like, when we're always berating guys on, oh my goodness, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you do that? Or why didn't we do this? You allowed access through being a little vulnerable to be like, hear my voice first.
I didn't like people wasting my time and never getting to the point where we had a phone call.
Oh, no, no. That, I
You know what I
mean,
mean? But I mean, some people, they're so nervous, they don't want to do that. So, anyway, that's more about you create the access to what you want in your life.
mhm.
That started out with meeting you on a Zoom. We had a Zoom call. Now we're friends. I'm going to support you no matter what. You're going to support me. And my life is better because you're in it.
Same.
And
So much so.
we gave that to ourselves by taking action.
Yes.
Without the
Yes.
action,
Action with intention, action with purpose.
there's that intention again.
I know. I'm sneaky about it. I am so passionate about the fact of it was like, well, also I think when you think of the people that you didn't contact on Zoom, or for me, the people I didn't contact on Zoom, where was my baseline emotion? So my baseline emotion with you was curiosity. My baseline emotion was already calm. That's access. You provided that just by being you.
Hmm.
So I could reach out easier. I could be like, yes, let's have this conversation. It's going to go wherever it goes, but I already know that the space is going to be safe for me because my baseline emotions are already calm and curious.
The other thing that I love about myself is that I act on my promptings.
Okay.
If I get a hint, like, wonder what she's up to, I act because I don't want to make that negative. I don't want to lose what that was for. So I should say it in the positive. If I have an intuition or a prompting, I try to act on it because I feel like it was there for a reason.
Mhm.
And I just try to listen to a prompting, I just have a notion of, I did that the other day with this guy on LinkedIn. He's like a big old who's it guy, he's way up there in the global world. And I just had a hunch that he could help me. And so I sent him a message and said, I'm wondering if you can help me. And I don't even know enough to ask you specifically what I want. But if you'd make a phone call with me, I'd really appreciate it. And we're meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
And he's like
Yes.
the global head of HR for some company. And I'm like, what I want is how do I get access to HR departments to practice my TED Talk? Because my TED Talk teacher said, do it as many times as you can and offer it to companies as a lunch and learn.
There you
I'm
go.
like, well, I don't know any companies and I don't know any HR guys. And so when I found him, I thought, I think that guy will help. Or he may not help me, but he could guide me with information on how to maneuver and how to act in a way. And
It's that
Andy,
big ask.
we're going to meet tomorrow.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Well, so I want to wrap up with your big contribution, no pressure. Um, if you if you were going to say what's in your heart to say to 400 or 1,000 women who are out there living their life and they get the chance to hear from Rhona, what would you say to them that would be sort of your what's on your mind to say right now?
No matter what you're feeling, no matter where your circumstances are, in some regard, you have the authorship of your own life. You have self-agency, even if it's just a small action. And sometimes that's the biggest ripple is the smallest action. Just know that you can create change within your life, no matter how much it seems dark right now. Or it might be so positive and light that you don't know the next step. You have self-authorship of it.
I love when women speak what's in their heart to say. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it so much.
And we'll do more.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Thank you for being here. Bye, everybody from Invisible Glitter. Go live your life. Thanks for tuning in to Pink Lady Posse Podcast, where women go from what now to what's next. Come join us at pinkladyposse.com, where we share community, resources, and tools to support your next beautiful chapter. With love, light, and a little lipstick. See you next time.